Hello. The topic of today's lecture is leadership, meaning, classification of leaders, roles of a leader, and different methods in selection of a leader. Introduction. In the field of agricultural extension, leadership has critical strategic importance since it deals with developing groups of farmers in the community. Agricultural extension worker in this sense serves as an administrative leader and coordinator for formulating, developing, implementing and evaluating agricultural extension programs as well as develop farmers in managing resources in the rural areas. He guides the extension education activities for farmers as groups or individuals towards the purposeful pursuance of given objectives within a particular situation by means of extension communication methods. At the same time, it has been brought into significance that leadership has to be groomed within the rural community. Having a local leader or community leaders enhances the success of new farming practices, and thus it is important to identify and choose the right leaders with whom the extension workers can work together. Such an arrangement makes the task of communication easier and effective implementation can take place in the rural farming community. Leadership, meaning. In the most general level, a leader is a person who rules, guides, or inspires others. In other words, a leader is someone who first perceives the group's needs far ahead of others in its implementation and one who exercises the acts which facilitates to accomplish the group's goal. Reading in Glossary of Sociological Terms defines a leader as: number 1, person initiating interaction with other members of a group. Number 2, person who initiates interaction more frequently than anyone else in a group. And third, person who moves the group towards group goal. Leadership has been defined in 3 fundamental ways on the basis of whose property it is. The first definition regards leadership as a property of an individual. Leadership was, therefore, defined by Hammond as the process whereby an individual directs, guides, influences, or controls the thoughts, feelings, or behavior of other human beings. Thus, while the term leader refers to a person or an actor, leadership is a process. As a group property, Cartwright and Zander viewed leadership as the performance of those functions which assist the group in achieving the outcome. It consists of group members' actions which facilitate setting of group goals, moving the group towards the attainment of its goals, improving interactions amongst the group members, facilitating group cohesiveness, procuring resources for the group. In similar ways, Piggott defined leadership as a process of mutual stimulation, which by successful interplay of relevant individual differences controls human energy in pursuit of a common cause. As a situational attribute, leadership is a property of a person or group of persons in a given situation whereby through successful utilization by their qualities moves a group towards the attainment of its goals. In the 3 definitions given above, the use of authority and influence of one actor or group actors over another actor or group could be determined. The exercise of leadership, therefore, involves the use of authority and influence. But what is important in exercising authority over other individuals is the act towards the attainment of a goal or goals. Stoddle captured what is considered an accurate definition of leadership: the process of influencing the activities of an organized group in efforts towards goal setting and goal achievement. This is in line with Dubrin, who defined leadership as a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. Classification of leaders. Nelson, Ramsey, and Berner identified 4 types of leadership. A. Institutional leader. The institutional leader emerges through an appointment, promotion, selection, or election to hold a formal leadership position. He performs the functions associated with his position so that when he vacates the office, whoever takes over from him continues to perform the same essential functions. B. Situational leader. It arises when there is perceived inadequacy in a social situation. He emerges to assist in rectifying the anomaly. He is therefore a product of a situation. As situations change, he has to modify his approach so as to meet the changes effectively. Otherwise, as changes brought him to power, changes may sweep him out of the leadership position. C. Dictatorial leader. This type of leader forces his decisions on the rest of the community. Often, he emerges from an institutional or a situational leader. He may be a member of a dominant family in the community, a business magnate controlling the bulk of economy of the community, or a political activity. D. Creative leader. Such a leader helps the group realize its creative potentials rather than for his own ego satisfaction. He is the democratically accepted leader. In addition to this, there are the Weberian typologies of leadership such as charismatic and traditional. The term charisma refers to personal appeal or magnetism. A charismatic leader is therefore the type of a person who has such personal qualities such as good looks, high level of intelligence, ability to speak fearlessly, and commitment to certain ideals, which when taken all together makes people follow him almost without questioning his authority. Traditional or hereditary leader is one who is born into a hereditary leadership position which custom and tradition recognize. His leadership status is therefore ascribed rather than achieved. Tradition affords him an unlimited loyalty and unquestioned obedience from the community members. Roles of a leader. Radhakrishnan and others in 1994 emphasized that the leadership role of extension workers has become an increasingly critical element in the successful performance of extension programs. Havelock in 1973 identified 4 leadership functions of extension worker, namely as a catalyst, solution giver, process helper, and a resource linker. This means extension workers as leaders should raise the awareness of farmers from functional farmers groups and make decisions for solution together with farmers. Extension workers who possess the desire to lead may enhance their skills and abilities required for the leadership role that might influence their performance and successes. Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO) states that the agent can be seen as having two main but different areas of responsibility. One, knowledge, communication, innovation. The extension agent is responsible for providing the knowledge and information that will enable a farmer to understand and make a decision about a particular innovation, and then for communicating that knowledge to the farmer. In this role, the agent is seen as a vehicle of knowledge, usually of a technical nature, and as a teacher who instructs farmers in the use of this knowledge. The agent is formally trained for this position and is provided with the technical knowledge and information which he must then communicate to the farmers. In this role, the agent's work is usually highly structured and based on existing government policies and programs of rural development. Number 2, educator, facilitator, catalyst. In the role of educator, facilitator, or catalyst, which the agent may need to perform in the course of his duties, the agent is associated less with the knowledge, communication aspect and more with the farmer's personal development. The agent is less concerned with specific programs or targets and more with helping the farmers to gain confidence, to organize themselves and to begin to get involved in extension activities. The agent's role is essentially to help, support and actively encourage farmers to develop their own initiatives and to begin to tackle their own problems. An agent can assume diversity of roles, but he must always be aware that the most important thing is to study the situation, analyze the problems, and adopt a position which is relevant to solving those particular problems. Thought must be given to this, and an agent must never simply plunge into a situation without thinking carefully how he may best help to change it. The use of local leaders. A good extension agent will always try to enlist the support of local farmers in his extension work. In any extension organization, there will be only a small number of trained professional extension agents within any region with responsibility for thousands of farming families. The solution is for extension agents to seek out and enlist the support of local people who have leadership qualities or influence within that area. Local leaders can be of invaluable assistance to an extension agent in a number of ways. They can assume responsibility of certain activities in the agent's absence, help to organize local extension groups, assist directly in the spread of new ideas and practices by demonstrating them in their fields, and generally serve as a point of contact between the agent and the farmers. By enlisting their help, the extension agent will have a chance to reach far more farmers than he could on his own. Working with local leaders also builds closer ties with local farmers and encourage farmers' confidence in the extension service and their willingness to participate in extension activities. Formal and informal local leaders. Extension agents will work locally with both formal and informal leaders. Formal leaders can be described as local people who hold some kind of formal position within the bureaucratic and administrative structure. Such leaders can include representatives or agents of government ministries, traditional chiefs or headmen, teachers, religious leaders, political officials, and officials of local institutions, for example, cooperatives. The extension agent should try to interest such formal leaders in his activities and discuss appropriate part of his work with them. If he can enlist their general support for his program, then his extension activities in the area will have a firm basis. Certainly, the extension agent should invite these formal leaders to extension meetings or other public extension activities. When carrying out his extension program and activities in the field, the extension agent will work with local informal leaders. Informal leaders are farmers prominent in their area who show the qualities and abilities which can be of use to be an extension agent. Informal leaders will exist in a rural area, and by careful inquiry and observation, the extension agent should be able to identify them. Often, by talking to other farmers and asking whom they see as the natural leaders in the area, the agent will be able to identify the key farmers whose support will be invaluable in promoting extension activities. Methods in selection of a leader. Extension experience in different parts of the world has suggested the kinds of qualities and characteristics that the agent should look for in farmers who might be good local leaders. Clearly, an extension agent should not hastily invite a local farmer to become a leader of extension activities. He must give some thought to his choice. The following two lists are examples of qualities Food and Agricultural Organization recommends while selecting local leaders. Number 1, initiative to take the lead and give confidence to others, intellect to understand issues and identify problems, industry and energy to work unselfishly with other farmers, influence over others and the ability to persuade and teach, and finally, integrity and a sense of responsibility. Number 2, experience in farming and modern agricultural practices, educated and literate, reliable and a regular attender of extension functions, innovative and willing to try out new ideas, and finally, trusted and liked by his fellow farmers. FAO asserts that the above lists are not meant as checklists but do indicate the importance of selection and the care that the agent must give to determining the qualities he feels are important. He must then seek out those farmers in his area who match the qualities. Conclusion. In this unit, we discussed the concept of leader and leadership and types of leaders. Further, we have also discerned roles of a leader and different methods in selection of a leader from the rural community. From all this, we have learned that the type of leader or leadership in rural communities determines the level of development in such communities. Thank you.